Hey everybody, David and David here from Payette.com and Upphone.com, and in this video we're going to tell you about iPhone location settings you should turn off now. Before we dive in, we kind of want to explain why we recommend turning these off. First of all, the practical reason is that it can save some battery life. The more personal reason, this might be different for you, is that I'm a little bit weary of large tech companies tracking my location everywhere I go.
Right, and it's more than just Apple that has access to your location. For every app that you turn on and enable location services for, that app also has access to your location, whether you're using the app. Sometimes it's whether you're using the app right now, or sometimes it's always allowed. So let's go right to the location services settings.
Right, so I'll open up the settings app, scroll down to privacy, and tap on location services.
Right, and we don't recommend turning off location services entirely because it's the GPS, lets your iPhone know where it is in the physical world, and it's part of what makes the iPhone so great. It's just a matter of being aware which apps have access and turning off the ones that don't need to have access to your location.
So let's actually start there with some of the apps. Here are the apps that have access to your location. If you see one that you don't want to have access all the time, tap on it, turn it off. So right off the bat, I see CephQ always has access to my location.
Right, those are the ones to be particularly careful of.
Right.
And you can see which apps have used your location within the last 24 hours because they'll be the gray arrow. And if it's a purple arrow, it's using your location right now. And if it's purple arrow with an outline, it's a geofencing location service, which means that it's tracking where you are to see whether or not you're leaving a boundary or entering a boundary. So like if you set a reminder to alert you to do something when you leave home, that's a geofencing thing. And those things can actually use a lot of battery life.
Right, so first let me just tap on CephQ. I don't want CephQ to always track my location. I don't need that. I don't need them to track my location ever, if I'm being honest. So
right, when CephQ is set to always, you're really trusting CephQ a lot because this app is able to track your location, and David probably is logged into this app with his bank account. So CephQ can actually see where David is all the time. It's not something your bank needs to know. And maybe they didn't intend for this to be anything nefarious, but you never know. They could have some app developer that figured out how to get this stuff from them. Right. You really have to be careful with this stuff.
Great, so that's just an example of that. Another thing to look at is share my location. If you don't use this feature, just go ahead and turn it right off.
Yep, and if you do, leave it on.
Yep, so just tap on share my location, turn off the switch. If you don't, I don't use share my location. Turn it off, save some battery life, nice and easy.
Yep, and Find My iPhone was great. So let's go all the way to the bottom, which is System Services. So let me just read a little bit from Apple's website about what Location Services does. Location Services allows Apple and third-party apps and websites to gather and use information based on the current location of your iPhone or Apple Watch to provide a variety of location-based services. For example, an app might use your location data and location search query to help you find nearby coffee shops or theaters, so that's like a Yelp app, or it might set the time zone automatically based on your current location. So that sounds okay, except that can be a battery drain. We're going to turn that off. And then it talks about how apps may request limited access to your location data, which is only when you're using the app, or full access, which is what we just turned off for David's CephQ app. Skipping down to here, if location service is on, your iPhone will periodically send the geotag locations of nearby Wi-Fi hotspots and cell towers where supported by a device in an anonymous and encrypted form to Apple to be used for augmenting this crowdsourced database of Wi-Fi hotspot and cell tower locations. And a lot of these have to do with building a database. Apple wants to build a database for their traffic apps of different Wi-Fi hotspots. They just want information. Whether or not it's personally linked to you, you have to ask yourself, do I actually want my iPhone to be scanning what cell towers are in the area, scanning what Wi-Fi hotspots are in range all the time, because it could be a battery drain? When you look at this list, it leads you to believe sometimes that cell network search won't work. Like your iPhone won't be able to search for cell networks if the switch isn't on. But that's not the case. The truth is,
turn it off right now.
Turn it off. Now your iPhone isn't going to be sending information about what cell networks are in your area to Apple so that they can build a database. If you don't want your iPhone to be sending that information, maybe it's a privacy concern, maybe it's just you want to save your battery life.
I'd be more concerned about the battery life in this case.
Me too, because it is anonymous when you're sending this to Apple, but I don't really care about helping them to build a database of cell networks. Now we've got a list of some of these services from Apple's website because it'd be kind of unclear. Apple Pay merchant identification, that will use your current location to help provide more accurate merchant names when you use your physical Apple Card.
I don't even have a physical Apple Card.
Turn it off.
Turn it off.
Yep. Compass calibration, that's going to actually calibrate the compass on your iPhone so it's more accurate. If you don't use the compass on your iPhone, turn it off.
I don't use the compass on my iPhone.
Right. Emergency calls and SOS, leave it on. Important qualification, though, is even if you do turn this off and turn off location services entirely, your iPhone is still going to use GPS to send basic information about where you are to 911 or your emergency number. But this will send more information, and it will also send text messages to your emergency contacts if you use the feature.
It's a great feature.
Definitely something to leave on. Find My iPhone, I would leave it on.
I would leave that on when I need to find my iPhone.
Yep. HomeKit. HomeKit means when you have switches at home, you want to say, okay, turn off the lights when I leave home. If you do stuff like that, leave it on.
I don't, so I'm going to turn it off.
Turn it off. Location-based alerts. Your iPhone and Apple Watch will use your location in order to provide you with geographically relevant alerts, such as a reminder to call someone when you get to a specific place, when to leave for an appointment, etc., etc.
This is not the same thing as the Amber Alerts or the weather alerts that you get on your iPhone.
Right. We had a question about that. Yeah. You're still going to get the emergency alerts. That's a different setting in a different part. I recommend turning this off.
I'll turn it off.
Yeah, you can see this is the purple outline, which is the geofencing thing. Geofencing kills iPhone batteries. Next, location-based Apple ads. Your iPhone will send your location to Apple in order to provide you with geographically relevant ads on Apple News and in the App Store. Who needs it?
See it. See you later.
Location-based suggestions. Location of your iPhone is sent to Apple to provide more relevant recommendations. If you turn off location services for location-based suggestions, your precise location will not be sent to Apple. I don't really need suggestions from Apple.
I'm going to turn that right off.
Motion calibration and distance. If you are a runner, or if you use the GPS features a lot on your iPhone to track your distance, maybe leave this on.
I'm going to leave this one on. If I'm going for a bike ride or run, maybe a swim.
Swim?
A hike?
Yeah.
Any of those things? I'm going to leave that one on.
Sounds good. Setting time zone. I like to turn this one off because I just don't do a lot of traveling through time zones.
And then if you do travel, you can switch it back on, time zone resets, turn it off again, save a little bit of battery life. Turn that right off.
Yep. Share my location we talked about. System customization. Your iPhone will customize system appearance, behaviors, and settings using your current location. For example, by automatically enabling smart charging when you were at home. I don't need that.
I don't need that one either.
It's like, do I really care about that as much as I care about saving my battery life? I care more about saving my battery life than I care about that.
Absolutely. So let's scroll on here to product improvement. What are we doing here?
Yeah, we'll turn everything off. All of these are about Apple building their crowdsourced database. iPhone analytics, the apps that you use, popular near me, routing and traffic, and improved maps.
Yep. Last thing here in system services is significant locations. Weird feature, drains battery life. Kind of creepy because I've actually had this on for about a month now, and I didn't know I had it on. And just look at all these locations that I've been.
Wow.
It's yeah. After the last update, this got turned back on somehow.
Yeah.
And now it's on, and I'm going to turn it off.
All right, let's do it.
Drains battery life, weird. I don't want this stuff on my phone.
Right. This is not going to send information to Apple, and we're not saying to turn this off primarily because of the privacy issue for this setting specifically, but it is going to save a lot of battery life, and who needs a list of every place that they've been?
And I can also go down here and just tap clear history.
All right, see you later.
And Romulus, Michigan.
Probably in an airport.
It must have been an airport. So that history is clearing. Those are location services to turn off now. Thanks for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you've enjoyed. Leave us a comment down below with any other questions. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more great iPhone videos.